Well, thanks for tuning in to the YouTube channel for episode 1 of the BertWill Creative Podcast. Since it is episode 1 and I have never done a podcast before, it's going to obviously evolve. What you can expect to see from this podcast is about a 30-minute conversation between me and a local Orlando comedian, where he came from, how he got his start in comedy, his creative process, and then where he would potentially be going in the future. Hopefully this inspires other creatives out there to, continue to work on your crafts, your side hustles, whatever it is that breathes life into you, that you enjoy doing. I hope that this inspires you to actually, continue to create, continue to be creative, continue to, go after your dreams, even if it's just a side hustle. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and here it is. Sitting down with, on episode 1 of the BertWill Creative Podcast, sitting down with Clayton Anderson. Clayton, tell him how we met.
Hi. No, we don't do this. But
we don't do this.
No. I have no idea. Probably.
Clayton has no idea how we met.
No.
So I'm going to tell this story really quickly. Clayton and I met because I was actually very interested in getting into stand-up comedy, but because I didn't possess the balls back then, I never actually got on stage and never explored my creative talents because I've been discouraged by every single one of my employers from doing things that are creative and the way that my mind operates. So I don't remember when it was, but one year I decided I wanted to go and venture into the open mic scene in Orlando, which is pretty tight knit. It's small, but I was going to show after show after show, and I met a bunch of stand-up comics. You weren't the first one. I couldn't name them all right now if I had to, just because that's on the spot. But I kept going out, and then I saw you, met you. I think we just connected on Facebook, and since then, tell me a little bit about where have you been in your past, as far as how did you get into stand-up comedy?
Well, I actually remember the exact day that
What was the date?
I don't remember the date, but I remember the day, the moment. It was, I was in 9th grade of high school, and I was watching Brian Regan.
9th grade of what?
Of high school.
Oh, okay, not 9th grade of college. Got it.
Not yeah.
Just to be clear.
Oh no, sadly I did not make it that far, but I went as far as the open mic. So
okay.
After high school.
In 9th grade.
In 9th grade, I watched. It was year 2000, which is insane because that was 18 years ago, which I cannot really believe. So here's the thing: I watched the Comedy Central presents of Brian Regan.
Okay.
And it was so funny that
hyperbole. Epitome of hyperbole?
No, it's not. It's not even called a special. It's just a 30-minute
Comedy Central.
Comedy Central presents Brian Regan. Saw his set. I laughed so hard, and also I just kind of had an awakening. I was like, oh my god,
you can get paid.
I want to struggle for so long, and I would
like to struggle through most of my adult.
But it became enchanting. It became. I was engulfed with it. And it never left me again. And then immediately after that was Pablo Francisco. And it's so funny because I don't really laugh.
He does a lot of voices, and you probably might not.
But when you're 9th grade, that works. Now I don't really nothing. If I ever meet Pablo, I love you, man. Your stuff's great. I just I've moved on because after 18 years you got to move on to other comedians. But no, I saw that whole hour of comedy. Both their specials, 30 minutes, and I just never felt more alive. I thought it was the funniest thing I ever saw, and I was like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And I didn't want. There's nothing else I wanted to do. I was kind of just enthralled with it.
All right, so since we're still at the beginning of your career,
that's the beginning. Oh man, years before even making it on stage.
You just mentioned that you knew you wanted to do it. Tell me just a little bit about the jobs that you've had in order to support your career in comedy, just to basically fund your creative journey in comedy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. I had to go through a lot of day jobs, a lot of jobs where it was definitely 8, 9 to 5 kind of jobs. And
what was the worst job that you ever like?
I don't know if it's the worst because they're all really bad because they're jobs you don't want to do to begin with. So you're just sitting there like a lunatic, being like, "Well, I'm following my dreams. Like, I'm gonna do what I want." But in the meantime, Miss Johnson, I need you to sign for this 3-day vacation in Daytona Beach. And you realize you're sitting there like, what am I doing? Like, this is not. I'm chasing money, not the dream.
Purpose.
Jimmy John. You know what? I gotta attack it. I'm sorry. Being a Jimmy John's delivery driver.
That's it.
Was the worst because I got nails in my tires.
You have fucking.
It never. Yeah, I had to get 2 tires replaced. And it just was.
What was the worst part of working at Jimmy John's, other
just
than
the entire process?
Okay. So real quick, I'm gonna
the
interject.
worst part, I don't know.
I'm gonna interrupt you.
The manager was just mean. For no reason.
Yeah.
So.
Because there is a reason that manager was mean. That's because they hated their life and they hated their job, and because they weren't happy with what they were doing. Most likely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I'm assuming if you're
it's
nothing against managers at Jimmy John's if you love what you do.
Yeah, you're making cold cut sandwiches. Like, how happy are you? Like,
and absolutely. And I was sitting behind a desk in front of a computer screen for the last 15 years before I decided to quit my job and take care of that guy right there. Fortunately enough, he has given me enough purpose to like really pursue videography and and my creative passions. So that's more or less why I'm interviewing you about your creative passions and your creative purpose. So that being said, do you have something on your mind? I feel like
no, I'm good.
All right, cool.
I'm eager for the.
So we're gonna do one more thing about the beginning of your journey. Is what was your biggest payday in comedy?
Are we talking financially?
We're talking about when did you know that you okay, well, I can do this for a living. When did you find out like, all right, there's a possibility that I can actually pursue this full time and actually make a career out of it?
There's not one particular moment. It was just anytime you get the first paycheck.
Okay.
Something that I learned from my aunt, who is, she's a tough woman. She's mentally just rigid, and it's great. And she said, the moment you get even a penny to do this, you're a comedian. Sure. Now I get it. A lot of not funny comics or guys who are radio
personality.
And I'm not trying to step on anyone. Like, I don't hate any comedian at this point. I used to, but that's not a good way to go.
It's not a competition.
It's not a competition.
Everyone has their own unique value that they provide, and whether it's a radio personality host or what have you.
Probably when I started featuring.
Featuring. Okay.
Yeah, that was where I was like, yes, this feels great.
Now, we are in Orlando, and as we discussed before, Orlando doesn't have a great industry for creative talent or comedians per se, because we are a tourist town. We make most of our money through tourism.
I can't bash Orlando. The comedy scene is pretty strong. I'm going to give credit.
But when
if
you
any of my friends see this,
you compare it comparatively to DC, New York, or LA, there's a complete separation of industry.
You can't forget Chicago too. Okay. I would say those are the 3 bigger. But I mean, you got Denver, Atlanta, a bunch of other tiny cities.
Let's just say that Orlando is clearly not known for its comedy.
It wasn't at first, but it is starting to get known.
Growing in popularity.
It's just we just had the 4th year of the Indie Comedy Festival, Orlando Indie Comedy Festival. That was great. Like guys from LA and New York and all over are coming down here and experiencing a great time. They're enjoying their time. They're seeing, but also too by them giving their best, it's stepping the stages up here to another level. I'll just say this, like, when I first started out, there was 2 open mics a week, 2 open mics, not like shows. Now there's probably, there's a mic every night, and there's a show every night. And so you've got double shows. You could, I mean, like, that's a huge growth.
Yeah. I can actually somewhat compare that to the salsa world. I've been dancing salsa for 8 years. This is something you might
Was there
know
only
about
2
me.
salsa open mics?
Well, it's
Back
actually,
in the-
I feel like it's going, I feel like the salsa world in Orlando is actually going backwards because when I first started dancing salsa, I could go out Tuesday night. There's a bunch of chihuahuas outside. All right, I can go out dancing.
They're back. They were here the other day.
I could go out Tuesday night. I could go out Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and there was even a social on Sunday. And then Monday night was like the only recovery day. Now, I don't know. I don't even know if there's a good Wednesday night. But anyway, the point is that things evolve.
We've taken your salsa dancers and made them comedians.
We took all the salsa people in the world, we made them funny, and now we're all doing stand-up comedy.
There's no more free salsa.
No more salsa anymore in the world.
You know what? It's just, it's not, you can't say like, well, Orlando, that's such a vague word to say. It's like, look, just certain people at certain points of power probably moved on, and the movement, I really believe more in movements through life. Those are more important than just like the city.
Yeah.
So
well, I was in New York City, and the salsa scene over in New York City, LA, and then all over the world, there are these creative energies, these creative cities, or these energies in these cities that produce these creative talents, because in a similar way, comedy is just it's a craft. It's something that you mold and develop.
Yeah,
just like salsa is.
It's salsa. I mean, it's just funny salsa.
It's just funny.
That's
salsa.
all it is.
All right, let's take this off of salsa. Sorry.
No, I want to talk about nothing but salsa. I want some salsa.
All right, so then we are going to talk about the next part of this podcast, which is joke creation. So, salsa is something that we have just been talking about, but your joke doesn't have to be about that. Part of the creative process is, brainstorming on different ideas. Take me through your creative process when it comes to joke writing. Like, how do you first conceptualize or think of a topic or whatever when it comes to joke writing? How do you get your first topic, and then how do you develop it into a joke?
Well, I think nowadays it's different, where I used to write a lot, and the thing is, I need to write a lot more. Like, I've been lazy. I think if anything that just triggers my curiosity or bothers me, if something like is really bugging me.
Okay.
Because I noticed that right now I'm very calm, everything's fine, but I do have a crazy, angry side to myself. But that is the channel that I'm pulling from. I've gone up on stage many times. Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna check because I'm a part-time videographer. I'm just gonna make sure things are recording because I have obsessive compulsive disorder. No. Yeah. Keep going. It's recording. I just wanted to.
Okay.
That's my ADD kicking in. But go ahead. Your creative process.
My creative process just comes from. To me, that's funny.
Okay.
And I'm gonna roll with this.
You said something like, maybe not necessarily at the start, but you said something that annoys you or frustrates you. That's what you'll write a joke about.
It's either, and I don't know if it's a bipolar way of thinking. it's comedy is part sarcasm and part goofiness.
Okay.
My mom was very goofy. My dad was very sarcastic. So I like to fuse the two together. It's like I like goofy and sarcasm.
Wait, I'm sorry. So goofy and then sarcastic.
It's the best of both worlds.
So who is the sarcastic one? Your mom, you said?
My father.
Your father. Okay.
And my mom was very goofy, and I've always just my whole family. I've been around just like people who just always talked, mad BS. You know what I'm saying? Like they would lose their cool and just I was always around people who were sarcastic.
Yeah.
So as a child, when you're coming into the world, it really rubbed off on me. And as a young child, okay, this was the spark. I fell down one day. It was a wet floor.
Okay.
I slipped and I hit my hip, and I was in a lot of pain. And my stepmother and her daughter were like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I'm just like, "Why don't you get a wet floor sign?" You know. And I realized
you can make people laugh.
They couldn't stop laughing, and I'm like, "What are you laughing at?" Like, I'm hurt. And
same way, yeah.
Yeah, and I walked away like, what just happened? Like, I hurt my hip.
People like die laughing for 5 minutes
through my pain.
Through my pain.
No, but I'm just sitting there more worried about my hip, and they're laughing. But I took something away from that. Like, I was like, that was very weird. That's the first time adults actually gave me any attention or time. Because most of my childhood life, like 13.
13?
Yeah,
which was
a
like
kid.
9th grade.
Yeah, yeah. It all started, yeah. Because I was a very quiet kid. I didn't talk a lot. I was into art. I was into cartoons.
Okay.
I think that also, like watching a lot of 90s cartoons, a lot of good
favorite
comedy.
90s cartoon?
Rocko's My Life.
That actually is one of my favorite, definitely.
It's
one of my favorites
and
growing up.
as an adult,
just because it's so
still
goofy.
Legit.
And there was probably sarcasm in there as well.
It's one of those shows that, as a kid, it was cool to watch, but you didn't know why.
It probably exceeded its time in terms of...
It was ahead of its time. It wasn't a show that... I mean, it had 4 seasons, so that's pretty good. I mean, you're not expecting 8 seasons. But it was a show that, as a child, you watched it. You probably watched it for the animals. Because every person in there was an animal. And
you didn't realize why it was so funny.
Yeah, but it was goofy, and it was loud and crazy. But I'm telling you, as an adult, you go back and watch it,
and you're like,
you're just like, Jesus Christ.
This is what entertains
This is hilarious still today.
Oh, it's still hilarious.
It's still. I got it. I've got the whole season on DVD.
All right, well, we're going to crack it out right after this podcast is over.
Well, I'll just say this. It was a huge influence on my life.
Good.
So.
All right, so take me through, you already mentioned part of your creative process was like writing jokes about shit that either irks you or maybe things that you're like fascinated by, possibly.
Goofiness, yeah.
Everything.
It's still a curiosity.
So. I have so you did a 5-minute set that I recorded, and I'll link it below. So if you guys are watching this, look at the link below of his 5-minute, which turned into 6 minutes. They didn't flash the light at you. They trusted you.
I usually try to go under, but I think we're going to be okay.
But one of your ending jokes in that 5 or 6 minute set was your what do you title the joke?
Are you talking about the closer joke?
The one that the University of
pot pie.
Pot pie.
It's just called pot pie.
The name of the joke is pot pie. So take me through how you wrote that joke. How does it start?
It started with aggravation.
Aggravation?
I think it's so funny. Yeah. Aggravation was the driving force of that.
Okay.
I was sitting actually right in this apartment, just kind of like wallowing in my depression and wasting my days just like wondering, wow, man, comedy, I hate it, but I love it, but I hate it. And then I was just watching TBS one day, and a commercial came on, and that's all it took. It just, the commercial was so blatant. It was, the commercial came on, it was one grandma in a kitchen making one pot pie, and she had a granddaughter in it, and she's taking a fork and forking the crust, and there's like flour all over the counter. And then the voice comes on, and they're like, here at Yacht Bleep Bleep Bleep, we make pot pies the way your grandma does, with only the freshest ingredients and tender love and care. And it's like, I don't think, and I'm not giving the whole joke away, but it's like, come on, you're a frozen TV dinner. I don't think you have grandmas forking the crust. No one even forks the crust anymore. Like they're buying the frozen crust in the freezer section. You know what I'm saying? If you're taking the time to fork the crust, it's just like, do not advertise that to me when we blatantly know this is coming in a box.
That's bullshit.
And it's just a machine that has like fork ridges. You know, just like sitting there all day. You know, like, yeah, that's the sounds of grandma. Jesus. Just be honest.
That joke is it's such a well-crafted joke with so many layers. And you told me earlier that it probably started off as like a really quick one-liner, maybe 1 minute. You didn't say one-liner, but like a 1 minute joke, which is now expanded into 3 minutes.
Yeah, just a riff. It was just supposed to be a quick, like, saw this ad for a pot pie. Oh yeah, really? And then I think
Jeez, I could almost remember hearing you say that at an open mic at Austin's Coffee on a Sunday night, like 5 years ago.
It might not have been there, but it was at Drunken Monkey.
Drunken Monkey.
Drunken Monkey.
I mean, I wasn't there the first time you told it.
Yeah.
But I probably.
And Drunken Monkey, great place to just check out local comics doing their thing.
Yeah. What night is that?
It's actually 2 nights a week. It's Friday at 8:30 and Saturday.
At 8:30.
Yeah, 8:30 every.
Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, they Friday was so well that they were like, screw it, we don't.
Let's just let them roll.
I think what it was they weren't getting a lot of business on Saturdays, so they were like, well, if you guys come in,
because they're
and
more
people
like a
come
cafe,
in,
ish.
Yeah. No liquor. Like it's great. No beer. It's actually refreshing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, you can't drink here.
And which also forces your audience to be present. Like, I mean,
it
your
forces
audience,
the comedians to be present too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's okay, guys. Never mind. This is not my place. I like, in all honesty, deep down inside, I like to do comedy sober. Yeah. Because it allows
forces you to be authentic
and makes your odd feelings channeled. Like you got to do this. Yep. There's no booze that's you're trying to hide behind. So anyway, back to the pot pie. Mm-hmm. Wait, I forgot the point. Let's go back.
Creative.
Oh yeah, yeah. We were talking about how like it started out as a small piece. What's funny was I was writing with 2 comedians, and I pitched the idea. This is why I don't like to really pitch ideas before you ever try them on stage, because I pitched the idea. And at the time, one of them was like, yeah, I'll have to see it. And another one was like, no, that sounds so stupid and crazy. And I was like, I'm just going to try it.
It's the same thing in business, to be honest, and in life in general, is when you decide that this is something that you want to do, like moving, well, I don't want to give away the end of this podcast.
Oh, yeah,
moving somewhere else to explore your creative talents and really push yourself out of your comfort zone. When you, in business, when you decide what it is that you want to do, and you say, all right, I'm going to go for it, I'm going to do it, but you decide, I'm going to tell a friend, and they're like, ooh, I don't know if you should take that risk, or, ooh, that's a good joke, or, ooh, that's a bad joke. It's the same concept in terms of now their opinion is forced on me. Yeah. Which is now going to affect the way that I deliver this joke.
Well, it's so funny because, like, it was really... Pot Pie came with another joke. Like, I wrote both these jokes in the same time frame. And they kind of had the same longevity feel to them. But the other one didn't make it.
We call that rhythm.
Yeah. And the other one... The other one was about dreams. And it dawned on me that I wanted to write a whole joke about like how useless dreams are, and I'm tired of them. And like, but you realize that comedians in the past have already done like, well, I was in an office, but I was a hippo, but I also was a ostrich.
The reality
is, and you're just like, oh, you can just do that with anything. Yeah. Like and so it kind of fizzled away.
Well, the reality is that every single joke, not every single joke, but there's so much content out there that no matter what you do, you may be biting off of someone else's style. No matter what joke you tell.
I like Pot Pies because it was an honest moment. I saw an ad for a commercial that was so ridiculous, and I was like, even if someone is talking about this ad, like, I don't think they have the angle that I do. So yeah, pull from your natural source. Sure, you might write stuff that has been said before, that has been repeated, but people go like, aren't you worried that someone's going to steal it? It's like, not really. And if they do steal it, I'm kind of flattered.
Yeah.
Like, that means I'm doing something right.
Exactly.
But it's like, it doesn't have the same fingerprint.
Same thing with me.
It's not going to, if anything, I guarantee it's probably not going to go the way you think it's going to go.
With me...
And that's why you can't steal other people's jokes. So...
With me getting into videography, I've done 3 weddings and some other stuff before, and booked somebody for a wedding today. The thing is, I completely forgot my train of thought. What did you just say just before?
I was just talking about... Oh.
Don't worry.
I was talking about how, like, originality.
Yeah.
Like, writing from your source.
What I was going to say is that no matter what your industry is, no matter what your job is, you can give away your content for free. Because you know how much work it took to get you to that level that it doesn't matter if someone steals from you. It does matter, obviously, if they do word for word the same exact joke as you, it matters. But if they steal, like, I'm putting crap out on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And if anybody wants to steal that, be my guest, because you know how much work I put into the videography craft, the, communications craft, the work, the sales craft, all these crafts that I can now be authentic and be myself. I know that no one else can take that away from me, so steal my jokes. But you know what? I know that I wrote them.
Yes, and that's the thing. And every comedian's got a Taco Bell joke, and I have a Taco Bell joke that it does well.
I remember your Taco Bell joke.
It's a good joke.
I still think about it, and I actually use it.
Sure, no, it's cool. But I also realized too that I guess at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? Go beyond Taco Bell. Yeah. Like, I get that you made Taco Bell funny, but everyone makes Taco Bell funny. It's an easy target. Mm-hmm. So it's really up there with airplane jokes at this point. Not bad.
Yeah, everything has an evolution.
But why not try a little harder and write something a little more
And the reason I like your pot pie joke and the audiences like your pot pie joke is because it was completely so authentic and so thought of out of frustration.
Well, here's the thing. So, we're talking about the frustration and the, aggravation, things that...
All those things.
Things that, like, the negative...
The things that make you
negative
think,
feelings.
Or,
Well, here comes the positive feelings. Here comes the goofiness. The goofiness came in part 2 of that joke. Because, like, let's be honest. If you really... Here's what sucks. People who have ADD or give up on a joke within 20 seconds... It's like David Cross. David Cross has long setups. But I'm telling you, man, if you get through the setup and you just listen, the payout can be so much better than a quick joke. Mm-hmm. And that's what I kind of did with Pot Pie. I sat there and gave my frustration and talked about, like, really, that's not what it is. That's not how it works. But once you get to part 2 is where things get nutty. And it becomes nothing but a marathon of jokes.
What do you mean part 2?
Well, part 2 of Pot Pie, I go like, no, there's no way that it's one grandma. And then, this is the turning point. I go like, and if it is, give that lady a break. And what I do is I introduce you to the idea of, like, this major company having one grandmother making these pot pies.
Yeah.
All day long. And she's just like, she's got the fork and she's just like,
so it's
oh
like
my God.
It's like a visual thing.
It's a complete visual.
If you can bring people into that world visually.
Yeah, and it's like a boss comes in and he just goes like, we just got an order for 6,000 more pot pies. The trucks are coming at 7.
Poor grandma.
How many have you made today?
It totally reminds me of the scene in Billy Madison. No, Happy Gilmore when...
your fingers hurt?
Your fingers hurt. Well, your back's gonna hurt because you just pulled landscaping duty or whatever. It's a similar concept, but
it is
totally,
very
like, natural, based or on a complete originality on.
Oh God, I did not take this joke from Happy Gilmore.
Oh, okay.
I'm just clearing the air.
Really? Because this was the whole purpose of the podcast was to call you out on stealing jokes from Happy Gilmore. All right.
But
Go ahead. So I feel like we've got a great substance on your creative process. So what's next, man? Tell me about What is next?
Just in life.
In life, like, how do you take your comedy to the next level?
And there's times where even I look and I scratch and I'm like, okay, don't lose faith. You got this. Things are good.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
Because when we talked earlier this morning, you said how comfortable you were on the stage today. Whereas you 5 or 10 years ago probably had the biggest fear about getting on the stage.
I don't know how I'm still physically alive. Like, I don't know how my body went through those levels of stress.
Yeah.
But I made it through.
All right, so we're taking a super quick 1.5 minute break just because we had to reset up the cameras for the podcast. But in this time, I just wanted to briefly talk about what it is that I'm doing because I'm all over the place. I'm doing podcasts, I'm doing videography, I'm consulting with other business owners for their commercials. So I just want to take this brief moment, this break, to let everyone know that they're more than welcome to reach out to me at BertWillCreative.com or leave a comment or whatever you'd like, and I'll do my best to get back to you. But basically, we are doing everything from video, storytelling, and commercials. Whatever you kind of need help with when it comes to the technology behind producing and creating and making content. Feel free to leave me a message, give me a call to discuss ways that I could potentially help your business or capture your life event or story or help you with a podcast. Whatever you guys need, I'm really open. But in any case, I just wanted to thank you for sticking around this long, and then we'll wrap up the kind of end of this podcast. And as always, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions, concerns, comments. If you like the content, I would love to know. You can show me by sharing, commenting, or liking this video. Thanks so much, and enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Quick break, and we're back. So, you were mentioning, what's next?
Gotta make it quick, huh? Okay.
And you said LA.
LA, yeah.
So we're gonna try to make this super fast because I don't know how long my batteries are gonna last on these cameras.
Let's do it.
How are you gonna get to LA?
I have no idea.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Yes.
But when are you gonna get to LA?
I don't know.
Well, you told me earlier.
I would say I would like 3 months.
Within 3 months.
3 months. Okay. I'm gonna try to just make as much money as I can.
Well, that's why I brought all my cameras.
But you might as well just do it.
That's why I brought all the cameras to document and say, to hold you accountable. I want to hold you accountable. Maybe you don't make it in 3 months, but you're gonna you are going to LA at some point.
Oh yeah.
Even if you crash and burn.
Oh, I don't think about that.
Yeah. Perfect.
So what?
It's not something.
Oh, I'm so tired of it.
You should not think about
failure. I'm so tired of the
failure.
negativity.
You should not.
Even though that my whole job is negativity, but
failure is not something that you should think about.
Failure is a great thing, man.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree.
Just keep failing. That's all.
Keep failing. Forward. Fail forward.
Fail forward.
Not to sound like Will Smith, but fail forward.
Hey, he's very successful and has a lot of money.
He's very what?
Successful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because for a second there, I thought you said
Guys, we have a red cup. He's successful.
He's a very successful.
That is funny. Anyway, we gotta hurry.
All right. The very last thing before we wrap this up. Thank you so much for spending the time with me. I do look up to you because I know you're a great comedic writer. I know that you have a great process. I know that you will have your own comedy special at some point.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Could be in 1 year.
No
could
rush.
Be in 5 years.
I'm just ready to jump into the pool.
What advice would you have for other creatives like myself, or comedians who are thinking about getting into comedy? What should they do? How should they approach it?
Embrace your craziness, because you're probably crazy. Mm-hmm. That's what I realized. Life goes by quick, and it's better for you to just do what you want than what you don't really want. Because at the end of the day, you go to, you go to sleep or you wake up and you're like, I am not fully doing what I want to do. And just have fun. Like, have a great time. Love every person that you come into.
Whoa,
I'm just saying, like,
hold on, time out.
Planet,
love every person that you come into.
At least try. Like it's every person has
totally
something.
You totally missed that.
I know the easy. Oh no, I didn't miss that.
Love everyone you come into. I completely agree. On every level that you should love.
That's exhausting. First off, it's like I don't have that much love. No, listen, I'm trying to be serious here. It's no, but look, try to keep everything open-minded, free-spirited. Not everyone's your enemy. It's okay. Write jokes about society. Don't hate individuals. Mm-hmm. Like they're really just deep down people that have passion and want to do their own thing too. So yeah, just write every day. Study.
Even if it's just 5 minutes.
Sure, just something. And I hate to say, but yeah, you got to get to the bigger cities. Mm-hmm. But use the small cities as a training ground, as a place of experience and growth.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm just yearning to finally go to the big city.
Okay.
Orlando has been nothing but a blessing to me, and I love what Orlando's doing.
But I feel like Orlando is a stepping stone for comics today. Today.
It is, and then there's some that really
could
thrive.
Eventually grow into something bigger, but today, like you were mentioning to me earlier on the phone that you made most of your money in comedy in DC, where there's a lot of money, and $10 beer nights is the thing to, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I have made a lot of money in this. That's what's crazy. Yeah. But it's also, you don't really do it for the money.
You do it for the growth in yourself and the passion of why you're doing it and the purpose, which is to make people laugh.
Well, comedy's heroin, man. Once you get that good set in you, it will haunt you.
Yeah,
and
you want to continue.
Dude, I get depressed if I don't do stand-up after a while. Yeah. So that's the difference between someone who's scared and someone who wants to do it. So
do what you love.
Do what you love.
Don't.
I never thought I would become one of those people, but it's completely true. So with that being said, I'm just gonna keep meditating and figuring out and churning the clay and figuring out how to get there.
Having systems to like make sure it forces you to continue to be uncomfortable and continue to grow as a comic and continue to pursue your dreams. And if you fail, you failed doing what you love. So
I mean, did I really though?
Did you fail? Right?
I think failing is just constantly doing what you don't want to do.
And I think that's a great place to end this very first podcast. And I just have to say thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
I've always looked up to you as a comic, and I've seen you host at the other bar back.
Hey, great place.
Yeah. And Austin's Coffee so many times. But if you're in Orlando, real quick, rapid fire, and we'll end it on this. Where can people see open mic comedy? Where can people see free comedy right now, Monday through Sunday?
Monday, it's Other Bar. Tuesday, the Falcon Bar. And you can Google these places. Wednesday, it's the Improv and Bull and Bush. Thursday, sideshows in downtown Orlando. Friday and Saturday, Drunken Monkey and Sleuths on Saturday night. And then Bull and Bush as well. Must not forget that one. And then
that's
obviously
all free, all mostly free.
Sunday, Austin's Coffee Shop. Yeah, all those are free. Those are all.
I'll try and link every single one below.
Yeah,
we're in Orlando, so
yeah, just
Orlando comedy.
Go see any and all kinds of shows. Like you're gonna get something out of it.
Cool.
So.
All right, man. Well,
thanks.
It's been great, and we'll hopefully do it again sometime when you're a famous comedian.
Yeah.
World famous.
Okay. Well, that wasn't the dream, but. Thanks.
All right, man. That was great. That's it, man. I think as long as I don't delete all this.